liquidity positions, and a lot of decisions are based on those understandings. So
Correct,
they must
correct.
be taught this.
Yes, it can be an approach. However, being on a couple of boards, normally in a few hours they have to make decisions which affects the lives of thousands of people at least. Whilst most of them, I would say, over the years of experience, they can understand balance sheets and P&Ls very well, but normally they ask very pointed questions. So from the balance sheet, they would be more interested in, let's say, okay, what are the major cost elements? What would happen if we were to reduce certain, cost of goods sold to a certain level? What would happen if our financing charges is so much? What would happen if, we refinance our certain activity or get funds from another source? So those are the type of decisions, my little experiences. And balance sheet P&L, I think most of them over the years, they do learn even if they're not chartered accountants. So.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
It's reading and then taking decisions based on those understandings. It's a
Yeah.
decision-making tool also.
I think yes, that particular approach can be looked at.
The gentleman in the back, may I request you to have a very brief question because we're extremely backlogged.
My name is Hassan and I represent the organization Investment and Marketing. It has been a wonderful talk listening to you. The issue that comes to my mind is that you are projecting that the CFO will have a very effective influence on nearly each operational departments of an organization, even in the strategy formulation. You work in an environment of human beings and professionals. You don't work in the environment of angels. What happens in the situation of a personality clash or ego problem that emerges when the CFO asserts his own influence on other departments? Thank you.
Again, a good question, and normally one of the things I did mention is having a motivated workforce and an innovative workforce. HR is, for any organization, having a collaborative workforce, having a workforce which can make team decisions is important. And one of the things that these type of systems do is they actually help and improve that level of collaboration, because people are now each other's problems are more visible. However, if there are cases where there will be, obviously because we are all humans, there will be cases where people don't get along, there will be personality clashes, and then we have to have HR or your rest of the organizational management come and fix those problems. But there is no really correct solution of two people not getting along, the chemistry not matching. There is no scientific solution or managerial solution to that. I mean, this is human elements which sort of, as normally people go up the food chain in an organization, one would assume that they are mature enough and see the changing collaborative role and see the value of that collaborative role. And if people do not see value in each other's role, then we have a much bigger problem in the organization. Thank you.
I just wanted to make one remark, please, in support of what President ICAP said about the balance sheet. You know that Enron failed, the debacle started because they hid the balance sheet. They wouldn't allow the investors to take a look at the balance sheet, and the media questioned them about it. And the CEO responded in an abusive word to them.
Yeah, that was after Enron had thing was over. But I think through these, one of the most important things about systems, and I come from the systems background, so I can totally understand that. Transparency is the key. The clarity of your organization is the key. And I think Ishrat also mentioned, Dr. Ishrat also mentioned that. There is a certain great value to that. And what the systems allow you to do is to provide that transparency. And I have customers who are looking at providing their balance sheet on the web every month. And good companies do that. And bad companies, the likes of Enrons, do not. And that is something that we also need to know, that a company that is not or is being very evasive about such things, those are the red marks right away. And in case of Enron, I think a lot went wrong. I think there was a lot of collusion of their internal, auditors and all that. There was a lot of It wasn't just one issue of them not. And I think with if the CEO was being abusive and people were asking about the balance sheet, that itself is a major, major red flag. That's a major red flag. Great. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Rabia. Thank you, Tetrapak.
As always, there are lots of questions, which is why I think we're running a little behind schedule. All the panelists, all the speakers will be available during the lunch and other networking sessions also. Please make use of them, and I'm extremely apologetic for cutting short any other questions. Next, we move on to the panel discussions. Top concerns for 2010, CFOs in the spotlight. May I please invite the moderator for the session, Mr. Junaid Iqbal, who's CEO of BMA Financial. Please give him a big round of applause as the team makes its way up. It's like an army. Joining Junaid are Ali Aamir, who's the CFO and Company Secretary at Lotte Pakistan PTA Limited, Roshan Mehri, who's the GM Treasury and CFO at Byco Petroleum Pakistan Limited, Misbah Burney, CFO Tetrapak, Aslam Sadruddin, who's the Finance Director at Pakistan Cables Limited, and Rafi Basheer, who's the Finance Director and DS Controller, Shell Pakistan Limited. Please give them a big round of applause. Hi. Good, how are you? Junaid, I'm surprised there's so many men with suits. I thought this would be the session where you roll up your sleeves.
Would you like us to do that?
Well, we can have a democratic vote if you like. Great, Junaid, over to you.
Thank you very much.
This panel, though you have it written in your agenda, let me just summarize. Since the panel discussion is all about the recession, such customers as consumer demand and managing cash have topped the list. But now, I turn the mic, are you mic'd up?
I think it is.
Oh,
yes.
great.
Yes.
So now I'll turn the rest of the discussion over to Junaid.
Can everyone hear us properly in the back? Assalamu alaikum. On behalf of Tetrapak and ICAP, I'd like to welcome all of you to this wonderful event, and it's very impressive that we have such a great turnout. Briefly begin by introducing our panel. We'll start from the left, Mr. Aslam Sadruddin, who is the Director of Finance at Pakistan Cables. And seated next to him is Roshan Mehri. She's the GM Treasury and CFO for Byco Petroleum. Mr. Misbah Burney, he is the CFO for Tetrapak. And on my right, Mr. Ali Aamir, he's the CFO for PTA, Lotte Pakistan. And seated next to him is Rafi Basheer, who is the CFO of Shell Pakistan. Now, a lot of speakers have already discussed on how the role of CFOs has evolved over the years, from how it was more of a financial control and chief accountant role, let's say a decade ago, to now being a business partner, a strategic planner. But a lot has changed, and especially with regards to this year, there are certain imminent challenges which the CFOs are facing, which are very specific to the times we live in the economic situation we live in. Some of them have to do with corporate governance, with performance monitoring, taxation issues, foreign exchange issues, commodity issues. So we'll quickly jump right into the conversation. One key issue that we've all seen as CFOs is a very rapidly changing interest rate environment and financial crunch in the industry. Difficult to find financing. Rafi, would like to start with you. How is your role as a treasury manager, as a FX manager, has changed? And what are the priorities for this year, especially for Shell?
Okay, thanks, Syed. I think for us, if we look back a few years, this part of the role for the CFO has really changed, particularly in 2008 when the oil prices went all the way up and all the way down. And we're suddenly faced with not just finding facilities to fund our activities, but also having to think of, should we get it in US dollars, should we get it in Pakistani rupees? We are being looked at to make the judgment calls on the exchange rate and looking at other, sometimes exotic instruments to fund that, which traditionally has not really been the CFO's role. CFOs do the accounting and someone in Treasury will manage that. So that's been one big change that we in Shell have had to make.
And how are you making those decisions?
Well, we use a lot of support from Treasury services that we have. We have a mix of activities that we do. One, we try